I actually had a dream last night that I ate sugar because I knew I was gonna make this video today. So I was like, I had a dream that I was down by the river over here and I was like eating like some sort of candy. And I was like, man, I can't make that video tomorrow because I ate sugar. All right, I gave up sugar for a whole year. Actually, I clickbaited you because I gave up sugar for over 2 years. I'm just gonna share with you the benefits, what helped me, and if it's worth it. And I'll tell you right now, it's not worth it. I'm just kidding, it is worth it, but I'm just gonna tell you why it's worth it, how it's actually pretty easy to do, and then like what you'll actually get out of doing it. And you can actually start getting results out of it a lot sooner than you think, okay? Video sponsored by LaCroix. We'll start at the beginning, okay? So I was working at Jimmy John's and I was a sugar freak. So if you knew me at the time, you knew that like I just ate sugar all the time. When we had juice or pop in my parents' house, it was like I was the one eating it. Come on, drink it. Or drinking it, eating pop or soda. I'm sorry if that offended you. I would eat ice cream in the mornings, whatever, right? So I would just constantly be eating sugar. So it came to a point where I like relied on it to live, or like I couldn't live without it, you know? So then it came to a point where I kind of felt icky or like just bad every time I drank pop or drank soda. And maybe it was just a placebo because I knew it was bad for me. But every time like something sugary went into my body, I was like, ugh, like, I don't know, it was weird. But I just didn't feel as good. You know, it's like I had, you know, when you drink soda or pop, like I'm gonna keep saying that the entire video. You know, when you drink soda or you like eat something sugary, it's like that instant reward. Well, I was getting, you know, the instant reward, but with instant regret at the same time. So instant like pain as well as the instant pleasure. Mostly anything that gives you like an instant pleasure is usually probably bad for you, you know. Thankfully for me, I kind of felt like this instant pain along with the instant pleasure. So it tasted good, but I also felt bad at the same time. So it came to a point where sugar was like controlling me, right? So I was like drinking it all the time or eating it all the time. For anything that I could get my hands on, I was drinking and eating it. But at the same time hurting me, and I felt the effects, but the pain kind of outweighed like the pleasure I was getting. So obviously this sip of pop, right? It tastes good. You know, the pain of like, oh, I feel bad, like, or I feel guilty at the same time. I also just feel icky, right? So that pain kind of outweighed the pleasure. I decided to just try to stop to see how it felt. So maybe try for like a month. And like kind of made it to where it was like a fast. So I started off saying, let me just fast from it and let me see what the result is. And I was really trying anything to avoid sugar. And so like, yeah, in the beginning it was like, okay, I cannot eat sugar whatsoever. So I was looking at like Cheerio boxes and it said like 1 gram of sugar per serving. So I was like, I can't eat Cheerios because it has sugar. And I can't drink milk because it has 11 grams of sugar per serving or whatever. You know, I was like checking all the nutrition facts, making sure like it didn't have sugar. So I didn't eat fruit. I didn't, you know, drink milk. A lot of like just Cheerios, right? It's just Cheerios, you know, you don't really think of it as like a sugary food, but I couldn't eat Cheerios because it was too sugary, you know? And then I also had these sugar-free drinks that I would drink. So like sugar-free Powerade, but like I've heard that like those energy drinks have like artificial sweeteners, which I knew was worse for you. So it just turned into sugar anyways, I think. I don't really know, I'm not scientific. I'm not gonna try to get scientific into this. I'll get into my own experience or what I think I know is true or what was true for me, but I'm not gonna get into like specific details as to like what is actually good and bad. Like, you know, I don't really know. But what I knew was that I think artificial sweeteners were just as bad for you as sugar itself, and it would just turn into sugar anyways. I don't know. So I just decided to stop drinking all those. So anything that was like sugar-free, not doing that either. I also had a drink called G Fuel, which was sugar-free, and it's also an energy drink. So it had caffeine, and I was drinking it every morning. And it was actually really sweet. Caffeine along with the sugar or artificial sweeteners. And so I was relying on that caffeine every morning. So I gave up the sugar-free drink G Fuel. And so I gave up caffeine at the same time. So I don't really drink coffee, but I gave up caffeine basically at the same time as like giving up sugar. At that time, my only option now was to drink water and nothing else, nothing with artificial sweeteners or anything like that. But now we have LaCroix. So in the beginning, I didn't really like LaCroix because like no one really likes LaCroix in the beginning. But then you just kind of just gained on me, and then they came out with new flavors and they're good. So, okay, so what happens after that? Like, what's the result of not drinking or eating sugar? So with the sugar portion, I just never really felt like bad again. I didn't really feel icky or anything like that. You know, I just felt all around healthier. Not that that was like a specific feeling, but I did notice I didn't feel like, one, the guilty feeling. So, you know, kind of just a mental thing, but it's a guilty feeling. And then two, the feeling that I just felt bad, like, or icky in my body, which might just be a me thing, but it was actually like, I just never felt that again, okay? But the biggest difference was mostly with the caffeine because I was relying so much on it. So in the beginning, when I started drinking G Fuel, I was like, okay, well, here's a sugar-free alternative. It's good for you, whatever. It's got all these vitamins, but really it's just like a caffeine drink, like an energy drink, like any other energy drink. In the beginning, it was like, oh, this is good for me, and like it was like giving me a lot of energy. I felt more focused and all that stuff, just because it's, you know, caffeine, and I wasn't really used to caffeine because I didn't really drink anything else. So when I started drinking this regularly, I started to feel the effects. I was like, wow, this is really cool. This drink is really cool. But then it got to a point where I relied on it, and I'll kind of get into like how that works, but my body relied on that energy from the caffeine to, you know, fuel my day. And then it came to a point where if I didn't drink it, I would have massive headaches, like massive migraines if I didn't drink it. And even when I did drink it, I wasn't even getting as much energy as I was before I was drinking it. So when I quit the caffeine, I felt terrible. Like the first week of quitting, it was just like I couldn't really do anything, or not like you can't do anything, but like one, you have headaches all day, and then two, you just don't have energy, so you're not as productive. But then after that first week, I was just fine. So I just went back to normal. And so all the effects of not having sugar or caffeine are, number one, I didn't feel bad all the time, knowing that I was just giving into guilty pleasures. So that's like the mental thing. So I felt good that I had like a higher standard for myself as a human, right? I didn't physically feel bad anymore. I didn't have any more headaches. Like I can't remember the last time I've had a headache. And the only time I really do have headaches are if I'm just staying up late. So like my body, you know, it's just like abnormal behaviors. So that's really cool. Like I haven't had like a migraine in forever. I have so much more energy now than I did when I was drinking caffeine and sugar or eating it. So you get actually more energy not drinking it. Your body produces more energy than, you know, caffeine can provide. So I have a lot more energy now. I don't really get tired. Well, I mean, obviously if you don't sleep enough, you get tired, but like just drinking water, you know, gives you a lot of energy. And then again, yeah, I rarely get headaches. Whenever I didn't get my caffeine fix, I would get a headache. And yeah, I just can't remember the last time I had a headache. So I feel, you know, good, right? So that's the result I've gotten so far. The thing about caffeine and sugar is that if you're drinking it every day, or like coffee every day, or, you know, sugary drinks every day, your body starts relying on that for energy to sustain you. And if you don't have it, then you feel bad, or like your body doesn't produce as much energy, so you don't have that caffeine, that artificial, you know, thing coming in, then you don't feel as good for the rest of the day because you don't have as much energy, because your body didn't produce it, because it was relying on something else to produce the energy. But your body naturally produces more energy than caffeine even provides. So if you don't drink it, you'll actually have more energy than if you did drink coffee. So, you know, if you did drink coffee, or if you do drink coffee, you're relying on that energy. But if you don't drink coffee, then you actually have more energy than the energy drinks, right? So, which is kind of weird. Like we drink energy drinks to have more energy, but we create more energy than the energy drinks naturally. Which, you know, so it's like energy drinks are kind of pointless. So if you do drink coffee or energy drinks, it's a lose-lose situation for you, because one, you feel bad if you don't have it, and even if you do have it, you don't have as much energy as if you weren't relying on it. And then also you have to pay for it. So even if you do have it, you have to pay for it, which takes more out of your pocket. So just drinking water, right? It's just like, one, it's a lot cheaper, and then two, it's a lot better for you, and three, you feel a lot better. So it's like everything about just drinking water is so much better for you than anything else. Thinking about it logically, it doesn't make sense other than it tastes good or it feels good, right? Which is that short-term pleasure. Anything, like I said in the beginning, like anything with short-term pleasure usually isn't good for you, right? Or has long-term effects. So how do you stop eating sugar or drinking caffeine? It's a lot easier than you think, and you don't have to give up a whole lot, honestly. Like I thought that I was gonna have to, you know, give up Cheerios, but some of my favorite foods, like biscuits and gravy, country fried chicken, chicken Alfredo, nachos, like I still eat all that. And so I'm not as picky anymore as I was when I first started, where I was like, oh, I can't eat Cheerios because it has 1 gram of sugar. If it has a few grams of sugar or anything, or if it has like added sugar, it's not that big of a deal, you know, like it's not gonna affect you that much. But if you think of like one can of pop has 40 grams of sugar. And if you think of 120 pizza rolls, that also has 40 grams of sugar. So you have to eat 120 pizza rolls in order to have as much sugar as, you know, 1 can of pop. So it's 2 grams of sugar per 6 pizza rolls, per serving of pizza rolls, right? So if you're eating like 12 pizza rolls, that's 4 grams of sugar. That's still a tenth or 10% of 1 pop. So anything that's like really below 5 grams of sugar, you know, I still eat. So even though it has added sugar, as long as it's not as much added sugar, or it's like the main thing isn't the fact that it's sugary. So obviously like small pieces of candy, it might have less than 5 grams of sugar, but the only thing is that like it's condensed, right? Or it's like there's a lot of sugar within this little bite, and so you get you know, you get that dopamine hit when you eat that sugary thing. But things like a burrito, right? Like a burrito might have 1 gram of sugar in it, but it's you're not like, ooh, wow, this tastes really good. It's just a burrito, you know? So the goal is to like not be as addicted to sugar. So like, that's why you don't eat candy or drink pop, because it's like, you have this like really instant, you know, dopamine hit of sugar. And it feeds that addiction. But little things like Cheerios, you're not eating Cheerios because you think it's sweet or anything, you know? And the thing about like my situation where I'm trying to gain weight by also not eating sugar, it's not that hard to avoid sugar and still gain weight, because like I have sugar-free peanut butter, and that's like 1 gram of sugar per serving, and it's got 200 calories per serving. And so it's like a super calorie dense food. And then like you eat burritos. You would think it's really hard to give up sugar, but it's actually not that hard. The only thing you have to just avoid is mainly pop, because that's the thing that people mostly drink, or how people mostly consume sugar. And then, I don't know, ice cream, it's not really hard to give up, I guess. So anyways, just do yourself a favor and try to give up caffeine and sugar for 2 weeks. All right, starting today. So starting now, try to give it all up, right, for 2 weeks. And so I know the first week will be difficult. So like today, tomorrow, this first week will be really difficult. It'll be really hard. But next week, like after that initial like dip of like, ooh, this is painful because like I'm not getting my fixes or whatever, I don't have a lot of energy. After that initial dip, like the next week, you'll feel really good. And then you'll get to a point where, because, you know, at the beginning it was like, ooh, I see sugar, or I see like pop or ice cream, I want that. But now it's to a point where like, even if someone's like eating something next to me, it's not like, or I smell cookies, it's not, I don't have like any cravings anymore, you know? So you'll get over that, right? You might have cravings like after the first week or something, but you'll get over the cravings. You'll get over the feeling bad or feeling like lazy or not as much energy. And it'll get to a point where you have more energy, you feel better, you're not spending as much on sugary things. That's just to, you know, please yourself. And I don't know, like everything about it is just better for you. So you might as well just do it, right? It's only gonna be good for you. One principle I have in my life is like, if something's controlling me, I need to turn around and control it. So that was like with sugar, it was like, you know, it was controlling me, or I was like eating it all the time and I needed it. Another example was like video games. I got to a point where I was playing it a lot. And then I was like, well, I need to turn around and control it. So then I just like sold my PlayStation and was like, okay, I can't do this anymore because I need to control it instead of it controlling me. So if you're thinking right now, I can't give up coffee or energy drinks or sugar because I love it too much, then giving up coffee is probably the exact thing you should do, or giving up sugar is probably what you should be doing, because I mean, just saying that, you know that it's controlling you. Because if you're not willing to give something up, then it's an addiction, or like somewhat of an idol, right, in your life. And obviously we don't want like idols, or we don't want anything controlling us. So just try it. You'll thank yourself. Trust me, you'll thank yourself. You'll be like, man, I'm so glad I did this. I wish I would have done it sooner, right? And just think of it like this way, okay? So in the short term, anything that's pleasurable in the short term usually has long-term painful effects, right? And anything that's painful in the short term usually has long-term good effects or pleasurable effects. So like working out, it's hard, right? And it's painful, but you don't really see the results until later, right? Until doing it a long time. But with sugar and stuff, you know, you eat it, it's instantly pleasurable, and it's not like you don't really have, you know, that bad of effects, right? It doesn't feel that bad to stop doing it. So you just keep doing it, you keep doing it. But then the long-term effects is like, oh, like I wish I was healthier. Like I wish, because when you're older and you're not as healthy, then you have to eat medicine for food, you know? Steve Jobs had a quote which was like, if you don't eat food as medicine, then eventually you'll eat medicine as food. Like my first sales call, so when I first started this, my first sales calls that I did in December, it was a guy who had a pest control company in San Francisco, California. He said that like he had like 3 different diseases. I forget what it was. I know it was diabetes, some sort of, I think it was kidney failure, and then something else, like something with his heart. But like 3 really terrible diseases, right? That could have been probably avoided if he didn't eat as much, you know, like fast food. And so he told me, like, just stay away from fast food, or like don't eat that junk because you don't want to end up like me. And I was like, dang, like, yeah, I don't. So it's like looking at a mirror, you know, you get out what you put in, right? You'll get a mirror reflection of what you put in. So if you're putting in, you know, junk in your body or whatever, then you're gonna get that back out. You might not get it back out like immediately. You know, might not see the effects immediately, but eventually it'll come. Give it up now so that, you know, the effects don't come to you later, you know. So anyways, that was just a rant. That wasn't in my script. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something new. If you do decide to do it, 2 weeks from now, leave a comment of how you feel. Like 2 weeks from now, come back to this video. I want to see what the results are, if you guys actually did anything or was able to get any sort of results out of it, okay? Because I want to see if it actually worked for you, okay? I'm going to eat a cupcake now. So thank you for watching. I actually had a dream last night that I ate sugar because I knew I was gonna make this video today. So I was like, I had a dream that I was down by the river over here and I was like eating like some sort of candy, and I was like, man, I can't make that video tomorrow because I ate sugar. So it's weird, I do have dreams like that where I'm like eating sugar and then I'm like so ashamed of myself. I'm like, oh man, I did that like for over 2 years and now I get like, I gave in or whatever. But I only have dreams of that. I never really like, I'm never actually tempted to eat sugar. It's weird. Like if I see ice cream or anything, it's not tempting to me anymore. Anyways, thank you for watching. I love you.